Imagine waking up to yet another day of a government shutdown that's grinding the nation's wheels to a halt. It's frustrating, isn't it? As the Trump administration navigates this escalating crisis, Senate Democrats are digging in their heels, preparing to shoot down a temporary funding measure for the 10th time this Thursday. They're holding firm, refusing to compromise unless Congress addresses vital healthcare support programs that could affect millions. This ongoing saga of repeated votes on the spending bill has turned into a relentless rhythm in the halls of Congress, highlighting just how stuck things are. At moments, it's been the sole focus dominating the Senate's schedule, leaving little room for other pressing matters. Meanwhile, House Republicans have packed up and headed out of Washington, stepping away from the fray. Now in its third week, this impasse has sidelined hundreds of thousands of federal employees on unpaid leave, with even more facing uncertain paychecks, and has left lawmakers in a virtual deadlock, unable to push forward on key legislation. Democrats are clear. They won't yield until there's a solid commitment to prolong subsidies for health insurance plans available through the Affordable Care Act, ACA. Marketplaces. Think of the ACA as the Obama-era law that expanded access to affordable health coverage for many Americans who don't get insurance through their jobs. Without these extensions, they argue, everyday folks who purchase their own coverage, like independent small business owners juggling multiple roles, family farmers weathering economic ups and downs, or freelance contractors navigating gig work, could face steep hikes in their premiums as new rates roll out in the weeks ahead. With a critical deadline looming on November 1st in most states, Democrats believe public pressure will mount, forcing Republicans to the table for genuine talks. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this a principled stand for healthcare access, or a risky political gamble that prolongs suffering for federal workers? And this is the part most people miss. A fresh survey from the Associated Press NORC Center reveals that the majority of Americans view this shutdown as a major headache, especially as it stretches into its third week without resolution in sight. Check out the AP video by Nathan Elgren for a quick visual rundown. The poll dives deeper, showing widespread frustration pointed at all sides of the aisle. Breaking it down, about 6 in 10 people hold President Trump and congressional Republicans highly accountable, with a great deal or quite a bit of blame for the shutdown's continuation. Similarly, 54% feel the same way about Democrats in Congress. As one respondent, Jason Beck, a Republican from Utah, put it in the poll, Trump's pointing fingers at the Democrats, and the Democrats are firing back at the Republicans. We're in a rut because compromise feels like a lost art these days. To clarify for those new to this, polls like this gauge public sentiment by asking structured questions, helping us understand the broader mood beyond the headlines. The survey also uncovers support for the Democrats' key demand, extending those health insurance subsidies. More Americans lean in favor than against, though a hefty 42% remain neutral, which might indicate that not everyone is tuned into the nitty-gritty of the debate. For beginners, subsidies here mean financial help that lowers the cost of insurance premiums, making coverage more reachable for middle-income families. Shifting gears to other developments we're tracking, a federal judge steps in to protect jobs in a bold move. A San Francisco judge issued a temporary order on Wednesday, halting the Trump administration from dismissing federal workers amid the shutdown. She described the proposed layoffs as seemingly driven by political motives, executed hastily without proper consideration. The judge expressed confidence that evidence would prove these actions not only unlawful, but also beyond the administration's legal powers. This ruling offers a brief reprieve, but it raises questions about the ethics of using personnel cuts as leverage in budget battles. Secret CIA missions in Venezuela heat up. President Trump acknowledged on Wednesday that he's greenlit clandestine CIA activities within Venezuela, and he's even considering boots-on-the-ground operations. This revelation follows recent U.S. military actions in the Caribbean, where strikes targeted suspected drug trafficking vessels, resulting in 27 deaths and the destruction of at least 5 boats. Notably, 4 of those boats hailed from Venezuela. For context, these operations aim to curb narcotics flows, but they stir debate over U.S. intervention in foreign affairs. Is this necessary defense or overreach? J.D. Vance dismisses backlash over offensive texts. After Politico exposed a group chat from a young Republican circle filled with racist remarks, rape jokes, and casual references to gas chambers, the Young Republican National Federation, the GOP's arm for members aged 18 to 40, demanded resignations from those involved. Yet, Vice President J.D. Vance brushed it off as pearl-clutching overreaction, arguing that a young person making a dumb joke shouldn't face life-altering consequences. This stance has ignited fury, with critics calling it tone-deaf. And here's a counterpoint to ponder. Does forgiving youthful indiscretions undermine accountability for hate speech, or is it a fair nod to human error? In related economic ripples, a major U.S. cruise line is steering clear of China. Oceania Cruises, headquartered in Miami and under Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, announced Thursday they're tweaking some Asian routes to skip stops at mainland Chinese ports. This comes in response to fresh fees China levied on U.S.-owned or operated ships, effective this week. A direct payback for comparable U.S. charges on Chinese vessels docking here. Under the new rules, American ships face a 400 yuan, about $56, fee per net ton for each trip to Chinese berths, making visits financially unviable. It's no longer practical for our ships to dock at mainland China, a spokesperson stated. They added a reassuring note. We regret these adjustments, but are dedicated to crafting itineraries that still offer our passengers unforgettable adventures in stunning destinations. For example, instead of Shanghai, they might pivot to nearby ports in Japan or South Korea, keeping the vacation vibe alive without the added costs. Wrapping up the latest buzz, stay informed as this unfolds. By Sarah Naffa. What do you think? Is the Democrats' hard line on health subsidies worth the pain of the shutdown, or should they compromise for the sake of federal workers? And on the international front, do these CIA ops in Venezuela cross a line? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss and see where you stand.